Hi, I'm Peter Lee. I'm a game designer. Until 2010, I ran a game design studio called Game Lab with Eric Zimmerman in New York City. I'm based in Seoul for the past 10 years, running an experience design studio, Nolgong. We work in the field of art, culture, and education in Seoul and all around the world, especially in Europe. Wallpeckers is a very special collaborative project of two countries that shares the similar past, Cold War, and divided nation. I was born in divided country with intense tension and conflict. But for some reason, I never paid attention to the relationship between South and North Korea until a few years ago. This is a story of my journey into the living in the divided nation with the talented team at Nolgong and partners in Germany. It's about what game designers can do to make changes in the worlds that we live in.
So as an artist and as a game designer, the things that I wanted to do is I want to make it matter to people. And then that it could be many different things. So in essence, that's type of works that I'm interested in doing. So I wanted to really connect my work with the people who's participating. And in that sense, I call them a player, not an audience. So let's say if I'm the one who invented chess, let's say. So I made a board, I made the pieces, and I had the rule book. Okay, now is chess completed? Would you say it is completed? No, right? So when does chess getting completed? Right? You need someone to play. So I strongly argue that I think game as a media or methodology, I think it's really there's some strength you never actually seen in other forms of media or experience. So the player is very interesting because player is not the one who invented the idea, but however, player is the active one who's actually completing the experience by their own action. So in that sense, I think it's a give interesting opportunity for artists or creators to sort of connect with the people in very deep level, I think. So in fact, I think this is more like this. Rules are the what artists or designer create, sort of something concrete. And then something that concrete is interacted with by the players, then play emerges. So in that sense, play is more like emotion, right? Either you enjoy it or you feel sad, you feel angry. That's your own, right? So as a designer, I shouldn't interfere with that. But what I should do it is create the moment. So it's an interesting way that the game design methodology sort of give you the gateway to the mind of people. That's sort of like how I sort of see it. Okay, so before time runs out, I want to talk about the Wallpeckers a little bit. Wallpeckers is a project that, again, we collaborated with Goethe Institute and then Berlin War Memorial. The project started because, of course, North Korea, tensions, nuclear war, and then there's refugee issues, and then all the tensions happening with the Trump. And then, as an artist, sort of, it hit me that it's sort of like it's a global level conflict that as an individual you feel so powerless. There's nothing you can do. But as an artist, like I sort of wanted to, is there something that I can do that could sort of change that? And I know it may sound naive, but I thought maybe this old conflict started from your mind. Like it all started from someone's thought. So what if we can actually get rid of or crumble the walls in your mind of people? So that way, if then it becomes the personal experience, right? Then I thought, oh, then maybe I can make something that individual would feel about these conflicts or issues.
처음에 내가 통일원에 77년에 11월 달에 들어가가지고 맨 처음에 시작한 것이 동서동 문제입니다. 그로부터 지금 한 40년 가까이 후에 오늘 이럴 일이 있으리라고 생각을 못했는데 동서독 관계와 남북 관계 공통점과 차이점에 대해서 설명할 수 있는 그런 계기가 40년 전에 마련됐고요.
독일은 일단 통일이 됐으니까 그 경험이 좀 되게 궁금했어요. 그리고 그게 개인적인 경험에서 어땠는지. 이제 그리고 처음에는 그래서 정말로 그냥 베를린 장벽일도 한번 가보자 고 생각하고 갔는데 막상 그분들을 만났더니 이 장벽들에 대한 정치적인 얘기보다는 사람들 얘기가 되게 많은 거예요.
And very often I went to the Brandenburg Gate. You had to make a decision. You had to turn with the right or left. So you were not allowed to stand in front of the Brandenburg Gate, and you were not allowed to look into West Berlin a long time. You had to make a decision because it was the didn't want that East German citizen look to West.
When Mr. Röskens told me about that you're planning a game project on it, I thought, wow, how they can do that?
First of all, you have to keep in mind that after the closing of the border, after the erection of the wall, I think in whole Berlin, East and West, the inhabitants were very angry about it, very sorry about it, and a lot of young people, like me, mostly students, were of the opinion we have to do something against it.
Wall and the German division is part of the history, it's gone, and so you have to ask yourself, why should it be relevant to people living today, to the younger generation, to remember this time.
Nobody thought the wall would come down within the next 50 or 100 years. Yeah? And then suddenly it happened so quickly. But it also happened because lots of small people did small or sometimes bigger actions, but people took action.
What I wanted to show was, so that was the last final testing at Berlin with all the expert and related party. And what I wanted to show was all the German participants, how they were like all laughing and smiling in the meeting. Usually like meetings with the German cultural institutions are very serious business. But in this case, when after they play the game, it was different. We were like laughing and sort of talking. Like when you play something, it even changes your dynamics of the conversation. So I think this experience is really powerful. And we were fortunate after that, after people played the game, they got interested in like, we wanted to do this in school. And eventually we found the funding. So we are actually producing the kit that can be actually sent to the school. So we send it to like 300 schools this semester in Korea. We're doing 1,000 more next semester, and it will continue. And then in Germany, we are just about to start German schools as well. So here's the thing. So if the action is concrete and if there's a digital component, there's a way this can actually be in everywhere. So as a designer, it's really important for me that experience is strong, but at the same time, we use the technology in a way that special experience can be scalable. It can actually spread sort of different parts of the world. So 5W and 1H is very easy mechanic for people anyone could understand. They look for people, they look for the region, places, and whatnot. But as you're sort of doing that, in order to make those pieces together, you have to read. Kids could participate without having any interest of the subject matter. But however, fortunately, after they play, because they spend time with it, that's also the part, because you were doing it. It is a story that you collected. It has a meaning. And other part is we we try to use technology as simple as possible. So as long as you have devices with internet connection, you could use it.
Wallpeckers started connecting Korean youth with issues between two Koreas. With COVID-19, we are facing a global scale challenges. I'm not a doctor, but there will be a role that game designers can play for sure. Stay safe, everyone. Until we meet again in the real world, play and make it matter. Thank you.